Angela, Levin, why is Prince Harry about to receive a huge inheritance on his 40th birthday?
Well, he's going to be, yeah, because he's going to be 40. His great grandmother kept I suppose you'd call it, stuck away 90 million pounds, which goes round some of the younger members of the royal family when they were 40. And she said very wisely that she was holding it. She wanted it held till then because she felt that when they would be 40, they would have experienced enough life and they would know what's wrong and what was right. And and they wouldn't sort of rush around and be crazy. So he will get a nice lump from that. But also, Princess Diana left some money for him, and that was also for when he was 40, and that's about 7 million. And he will have that. So I'm sure Meghan will be delighted, and perhaps they can buy another house, which they've been thinking about for a long time in different parts of America. But that's why he would get that. William doesn't get the same because William, of course, took over from the king when the queen died, for the duchy
The Duchy
house
of Cornwall.
in yes, in Cornwall, and he got about 114, I think, million.
So he's doing okay now, William.
He's doing very well. So they didn't give William the same as Harry. So Harry couldn't say, I'm the spare, I'm not getting anything. I don't know that he felt he should have the same amount of as William has had. But, he's got more money coming to him and he should be very pleased. But the thing is, they spend it like water and it will go very, very quickly. And certainly, if you want people to look after you 24/7, then it's going to cost you a lot of money.
That's the problem, Angela. They have the most lavish lifestyle, don't they? It's quite extreme, actually. And what do you make of where they want to move? Is it true that they are considering getting a home in Malibu so that they have a base that's closer to central Los Angeles so they don't have to, if they've got work in Los Angeles, they don't have to do the big trip back to Montecito?
They say that, but it hasn't come off. Just as way as Harry's been saying he wants a nice house in Windsor so he can come and be here for a while. That hasn't come off either. I think a lot of these things are to keep them on the front pages and to keep people interested in what they're doing. But I think if she can fly very easily. People lend her their planes all the time so she can go from Montecito to wherever she wants. And you have to think about the children. Are you upping them all the time? Are they going to school? Where are they going to school? Are you going to keep changing where they live? It's not going to be easy for them to make friends and to settle down and to have a normal life.
So you don't believe the talk that Harry is looking for some sort of property in Windsor? Obviously, like everything with Harry, it always comes with the conditions, doesn't it? And the condition would be only if I get my way when it comes to the security, Dad.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's why he says he's not bringing the children over here because it's not safe enough. And I think that's really cruel because it's really blackmail for King Charles that, if he gets the security 24/7, which means he can do it all over the place, not just here. And when it is that particular protection is from us, our taxes. Now, we're already heard we're going to have masses taken away from our money we have, and so I don't think it will go down very well. That Harry would be happy to take a lot of money from all of us when he doesn't do any work. It's not that he's a working royal. You can't be paid for nothing. We all sort of know that. But I think he might like to want a place in Windsor because he can't. There's a sort of line of four people who step in for King Charles if he's either away or he's not well. Fortunately, during this particular illness, he's managed without having anyone having to stand in for him. But it's done on a hierarchy. So, who is the older there can come first and second, and third and fourth. And they can stand in for them, signing forms and being there when needed. But you have to live in the UK. And of course, Harry and Meghan no longer do. So that stops him being on the list. And it was quite a clever way of doing it, I thought, because they removed him from Frogmore Cottage, which they were in, and put in Prince Edward and Princess Anne. So they are very reliable and responsible. So you don't need Harry anymore. But
And this is as a councillor of state, right?
yes, it's called that. It's called the Councillor of State, and he might want to do that and push his way into the royal family now because there's such a lot of illness. It's very, very, very vulnerable. I'm very worried about it. And then Camilla will come in as Queen. Sorry, not Camilla. Meghan would come in as Queen Meghan, and she would take over because she would tell everybody what to do, and that scares me to bits. So I think it will be hard. I hope it's very, very hard for him to find a house in Windsor.
Yeah, this is what's so interesting, isn't it, Angela? He's desperate to find a vulnerability, to find a way in. He hoped that it would be Charles and Catherine's cancer, but they made it very clear to him early on, nope, nothing changes. We don't need your help. We don't want you taking on any duties. And of course, it was Queen Elizabeth II who made it very clear that there couldn't be a half in, half out arrangement.
Yeah, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, not on. And you can see that because what the late Queen said was that she didn't want them using their titles to make money out of it. And of course, this is what they've been doing all the time. Even now, they use their titles when they shouldn't be, but I don't think people bother too much about that. But the point is that if they actually have the things they need to do as well as their titles, and then they sell it. I mean, I think Meghan with her jam jars, she could make a fortune if she actually was Queen Meghan. But we have to stop that. You can't do that twice. It's very, very insulting to the British royal family.
The scam jam, as I call it. And of course, there are reports this week, Angela, coming out of the Mail that King Charles may never see his grandchildren again. And this all relates again to the ongoing battle with security and the fact that Harry says that he will not bring Archie and Lilibet to the UK. Well, the problem with that is that Charles is very unlikely to travel to the US. So it is possible, isn't it, that just like Thomas Markle at 80, King Charles may never see two of his grandchildren again. And of course, he only has the 5. I mean, it's quite a significant hole in his life, Angela.
Yeah, well, his other little godchildren,
Grandchildren.
grandchildren, he absolutely adores, and they've changed him. He's very loving towards them. I remember in the one of the photos where little Louis wanted to go and sit on his lap, and he went along. He asked his father, and he went along and sat on Charles's lap. He was so happy, and Charles spent ages bouncing him up and down. I couldn't imagine him doing that a long time ago, but he loved to do it, and he loves them, and he has all sorts of things in his gardens for them. But it's a shame he can't get to know his other little grandchildren. And I think that it's a real shame when you miss that part of a family, that you don't have the cousins and you don't have the grandparent, and it's very hard. But if that's what they insist on, I think it's blackmail. But they won't do it unless he gives in. But he can't give in, and it would be very difficult for him to travel there to America. And where would he stay? It would be very difficult. It's not like him, and I think that he and Camilla have worked out how to deal with it, because she's very good at helping him when he's upset about these things. And they have to just carry on. You mustn't think about it. There's lots for them to do. They have to look after their health. And you have to just say, well, I would love to see them. I would love to know them. I would love for them to know me. But if Harry is sticking his foot in and not allowing that to happen, then we just must carry on.
Meanwhile, Angela, Prince Harry didn't get his way after his latest tell-all interview on ITV, woke ITV. It's very much a case of diminishing returns, isn't it, Angela? Because he's tried to play the victim so many times now that actually this barely created a ripple. And from what you're hearing, he's not getting traction with the police over his ultimate aim, which is, of course, for a criminal investigation to be relaunched into phone hacking that would target his nemesis, Piers Morgan, who he wants to see locked up. Angela Levin, he won't rest until
Yeah.
Piers Morgan is behind bars.
I think he wants me to be locked up as well, because I've often said not very nice things about him, but I'm persevering as well. The thing is that the judge and the High Court judge was very annoyed with him because he felt that he was making all these allegations, but when it came to showing evidence, Harry mistook the fact that he has to give evidence as well as saying what he thinks has happened. And it was gone. He's destroyed it. It had been destroyed. So the judge is very, very angry and said he's got to find it. He can't make a case if he hasn't got the things to say and to show. And this might be the end of him, actually, because you look ridiculous if you're fighting very hard for people to be honourable and to stick to the rules. If you've chucked all the evidence away.
Well, indeed. I want to tell you about this amazing product that I have here in my hands, Verso. As you may know, I've entered my 40s and the importance of staying healthy as I age has become really critical to me. So I've decided to focus on prioritizing my health, staying fit, exercising every day, and also doing the 16/8 fast. But scientists like David Sinclair now say that actually we can reverse aging with interventions beyond healthy habits. So this is a product that I knew would enhance everything I was doing, but it's also backed up by solid evidence. That is really important. So that's why I want to tell you about Cell Bean by Verso. It has scientifically proven ingredients that fight the effects of aging by increasing NAD+ levels that power every cell in your body. I've actually been taking the product now for a number of months. I take it in the morning, the start of every day. It's genuinely been transformative to me. Fasting's easier. I've lost fat. I'm eating less too. The weight is down. And apparently that's because, according to the team at Verso, it has blood sugar regulation effects which lead to fewer cravings. Sleeping is so much easier too. I wake up with more energy, feeling much happier too. So it's taken years off me. I would love you to experience the same thing. Verso publishes third-party testing from each batch produced to guarantee you are getting what you paid for, and to mark the launch of Outspoken as our first ever sponsor. Verso has an amazing offer for you. If you head to buy.ver.so/outspoken, you will save 15% on your first order by using the coupon code Outspoken. The link is in our YouTube and Rumble description, but to repeat, buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code Outspoken. I mean, look, I find his whole holier than thou approach over the media completely insane, Angela, on so many levels, because yes, he has now been accused of destroying evidence himself, which is exactly what he's apparently so angry with News UK about. He has released the most personal information about his own family members, which is apparently what he's so angry with News UK and the media about. So he's just proving himself to be a big hypocrite, isn't he?
Yes, well, all the things that he said about his family, all the awful lies and the crude things that he said, you know, are terribly bad. But he puts them aside. He feels it's all about the press. It's the press's fault that he and the royal family aren't close together anymore. But it really isn't. It's what they called the family when they were talking to, when they did the six-part boring, moaning thing in for Netflix. With Oprah, when they said there was a racist, and also that in the royal family, but not saying the one, so it could hang over the royal family for a long time, make everyone feel uncomfortable. And within that as well, that he said that the king and William were trapped by being in the royal family. Well, here are two people who are giving their heart and soul to the country and the Commonwealth. And he has the audacity to say that to them. And before he was met Meghan, he thought that it was a very good idea. He said to me he wasn't going to leave the royal family because he wanted to help the Queen, because he felt that she did such a good job and the monarchy was such a good thing. So, all that's twisted and gone. But you can't have that. You can't call Catherine lazy. You can't say that William married her because she was in the right mold for the royal family, whereas he married for love. I mean, how dare you? Why would you think anyone would ever
Well, it's
want to sit with
unforgivable.
him?
It's
It is
unforgivable, isn't it?
unforgivable.
And the problem is, Angela, clearly, and he probably won't admit this publicly, maybe ever, or certainly not until the marriage ends. But I think Harry is already regretting some of those terrible things that he said, because the problem is he can never reverse it. It's almost like he did the Oprah interview in a fit of pique. He wrote Spare in a fit of pique, and he doesn't think about the consequences. Now, as you say, William will never forget what he said about his relationship with Catherine in that Netflix series. William will never forget the terrible things that he said about Catherine in Spare, let alone the personal revelations he made about his brother being a bully. But my sense is that Harry probably is starting to regret it. But it's too late. It's too
What I
late.
feel very strongly about it is that if you have a partner in your life, you want them to bring out the best in you, not the worst.
Yes.
And that can be hard to find, but if you've got them, you hang on and you really listen, because they are telling you something about yourself, caring about you. They're not trying to make anything out of it. They really want to care about you and protect you. And so if you say, why on earth are you saying that? That's terrible. She's going to be very, very upset. Leave it out. Because a lot of partners, I won't give names here, although they're obvious, a lot of partners read through somebody's books, tell him not to put the number of people, of enemies he shot, 25 in Afghanistan, because they're always after him now. That's why he gets so worried. But why put that in his book? So you need that person, even if you're daft enough, you've got so much angriness in your side, you want to pour it out. You need someone who says, look, leave this for tomorrow. Look at it. You'll see that you've made a terrible mistake there. We all do that. I sometimes want to send someone a nasty letter, tap it all out, and the next day I delete it. It just helps you. But
Totally.
I
But
think you
he
need
hits
someone.
send, Angela, because he actually has a temper too. A lot of people don't know that about Harry.
Yes, he does have a temper. I was sitting with him sometimes when he was with all the people who were doing all the doggy work about some sort of extract we were doing and seeing. And he got very bored and he tapped his feet up and down, up and down, up and down. And he says, I can't stand this. He doesn't like all the nitty gritty of what's going on, whether it's going to be 5 minutes till they start doing that and how many people are going. He's not into that. He's much more into people and finding out how they are, what they're doing, and making them feel good. Well, he did, and laugh. But there are people who do all the work, writing things down and getting them sorted out, and he can get quite annoyed. Um, but I don't think that's such a problem. I think the problem is that he doesn't have now someone who he can really trust and help him to make good decisions.
No, indeed. Indeed. Look, some other developments, Angela. What did you think of Prince William axing Camilla, Queen Camilla's sister, Annabelle, I believe, from the payroll of the Duchy estate. That was after 20 years service. His friend, William Van Cutsem, is going to take over. What's this all about?
Well, at first I was quite shocked because I thought, how could he do that to get rid of her when she's been so helpful? She's done so many properties for the king all around the country, and he's paid her very well from the day he was married to Camilla. But when the next day it came about that Van Cutsem, he's actually quite involved in building work and things like that. And I could see that there was a good idea for him to do that. I think I've discovered that Annabelle will still be working for the king, but it won't be working for the Duchy estate because William wants to design it in a completely different way. And I know that they get on well, that the Queen and King get on very well with Annabelle, and they wouldn't have allowed anything nasty to happen to her. And I'm sure that William has waited. He's waited over a year before he's done this. So he didn't come in and then say out. He gave her time, not to prove how good she is, because she is talented, but just the fact that he wanted to do it for himself, and he's very keen on whatever he does. He's the boss. So I think that it sounds dreadful, but in a way he's entitled to do this because he wanted a different design. I mean, Annabelle's is not old-fashioned, but sort of cozy in that sort of area, where he might want something very modern, something very different. She might be able to do that, but he wants it fresh by somebody else. So although it looks or sounds difficult, I think that it makes sense because we all have to realize that the way people want things done are not all going to be the same.
You're surprised, Angela, this week that the Daily Mail made a decision to serialise a tell-all book about Catherine at the height of her cancer battle. What's going on there?
I thought that was extraordinary. Well, the book is coming out quite soon and would have been ready for extractions. But I thought that yesterday to have across the top, she was devastated when William dropped her and said he didn't want to go out with her anymore when they were still at university or just afterwards. And I thought that was absolutely such bad taste. I mean, I've
over
worked for the
15 years
for a very
ago
long
too,
time.
and they tried to make it look almost as if it was happening now, didn't they? It was
Yes,
quite a dishonest presentation by the Mail.
yeah, it was. It's a very long time ago, and they got back together quite quickly. William was scared of committing himself because he could see with his mother and father how awful marriage could be. But my goodness, he's pleased he's done it. But I thought that actually, if she was strong and busy, that would have been bad enough. But someone who is still quite ill and is obviously sensitive and won't feel that they look lovely because that's what cancer does. You don't feel that you're in great form, of course. And I think that was so unnecessary, so badly timed to do that for her. And I'm very surprised at them because they're usually quite good at this. But poor Catherine, poor Catherine.
Yeah, no, totally. It felt pretty cruel. And as I say, there was an underlying tone there that they were trying to make it look as if that was how William felt today.
Yes.
And it's like, no, this is how he felt in, when was it, 2007 or whenever it was, around that time.
Yes.
We have had some positive news, though, Angela, this week. Thank the Lord for Princess Anne. She's trampled
Yes.
by a horse, but goodness me, nothing's going to keep that woman down.
Isn't she amazing? I mean, she
Yes.
came up 2 days before it started and wanted to give them all a positive talk.
Is
And
this
she
at the
kept saying,
Olympics?
yes, the Olympics. Yes, of course. Sorry. And she was saying, enjoy it. I know you're going to be very anxious. I know you're going to enjoy it so that you can look back and see that, it was wonderful. Don't just do it. And she was explaining all these things to her, giving her wonderful little phrases about how to be and how to help themselves. And that was 2 days before the Olympics, and now she's there and she's putting, the
The
awards around.
medals, yeah.
And her husband's there with her, which is very nice because she doesn't look well unless it's the fact that she's not got any makeup on, because she's not like a lot of girls who puts on makeup so they look good. She looks a bit pale and she looks tired, and she has been told, be very, very careful that you don't overdo it. And I think those hard-working royals do overdo it. I think the fact that she's got Sir Timothy Lawrence with her, who she thinks is absolutely right for her, and she does listen to him, that will not let her be up too late. But she loves it, and I think that she didn't make any fuss. There was nobody else she obviously thought was right to go to France, and so she's gone and she's done it. She's handled it. She doesn't moan. She doesn't groan. She's there, very accessible for people, which you might not imagine because she's quite serious, but actually a wonderfully kind and wonderful woman. We do need her, and she must look after herself.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please do subscribe if you want lots more clips and interviews like that. Plus, if you want to watch our totally uncensored after show, then visit www.outspoken.live.